Now it's time to start putting this movement back together. We're going to start with the jewel that goes on the back side of the main plate for the balance wheel. And here's our capstone. And if you notice that in the light, that is a convex side. It has a roundness to it. We don't want that side. We're going to turn it over and work from the back flat side. If anybody else has seen my videos, you've seen what is this operation, what we're doing here. If it gets repetitive, maybe somebody hasn't seen these videos prior. So I'm just doing everything the way I would do it without skipping a beat. So in my left hand, I'm going to come in with my tweezers, and we're going to hold on to that stone because we're going to put a bit of oil right in the middle, and because it's tacky, we got to hold it down so as not to have the stone pick up on the oiler. And I probably put a little too much on there because it's sticking to it. That's okay. It's not that much that it's spilling out. Maybe a purist or a professional would say, oh, poo-poo on that, it's over-oiled. Well, okay, whatever. I don't worry about it. It's got enough oil. It's fairly close to the middle, and I'm working through this camera and working around it. So next we take the jewel itself, place it right on top of that capstone. The oil, and then I press down on it. The oil is going to make that cling. You can pick it up, turn it over, and there you have it. Next, we're going to place that right in the holder, the movement. The beautiful thing about a Swiss movement, I believe this is the Inca block style shock spring. It makes life so much easier. I mean, it is, I always say, if you can service a lot of these Russian movements, you'll have no problem with a Swiss. So if you can practice and get proficient on a Swiss or a Russian, you can tackle a Swiss and think, oh boy, this is a joy to work on. And it really is. Drop that assembly in. The Inca block spring is literally, it's dummy proof, idiot proof. I should know, because I'm a dummy. You just come in from one side. Let's see, are we in focus? And just snap it in. I like to take a loop to it and take a look up close. Make sure everything is in place. Yes, I have it out of the shot right now because I'm looking at it. Something doesn't appear to be lined up for some reason, and I don't know why. It's just the light reflecting and making a shadow, thinking I'm not doing something right. So there you have that. That's all in place. Now we're going to turn this over. And since we have our mainspring barrel done, let's start assembling from this side. That jewel right there in the middle is for the mainspring barrel. I like to put a little D5 in there. It's like a heavier oil for the higher tension, the higher pressures that are experienced. A little bit of D5. Here's our mainspring barrel, and that just drops in. Nothing to it. Fairly easy, simple. Pretty much how I like things to go. Next, we are going to have a lever that goes in here. That is our hacking lever. Goes right on that post right there. Let's get a look at things here. Give you an orientation of how things look. This is the area that we're working on. It's taking up all of this right there. That lever is very tiny, fragile, thin, you name it. If you don't have some kind of oil holding it in place, it could easily come out of place when you put the bridge on. So I like to come around here with a very thin oiler, and we're going to put a smear of oil right there. Oil's good because it's going to lubricate it, but it's also going to add a little clinginess to it. So when we drop that lever in and put the bridge on top, there's very little chance that it's going to get dislodged. Hopefully that was in the shot. It's a very delicate spring. Painfully delicate, I should say. And the barrel bridge is also going to get a bit of D5 on that bore. Could probably put that up here for you. There it is. I'm going to put a smear of D5 on that as well. Just a thin coating. See if I can get all this in the shot. You can see how all that's working there. And once this bridge is in place, look at that, beautiful. You don't have to worry about that lever. It's in place. The only thing you got to worry about is when you put the balance in, it is not in the hacking position. Easy enough to do. So let's tighten up our bridge. If I can get that screw to behave. I think I have the wrong size screwdriver. I'm going to do these videos in short parts. Try not to go too much over 10 minutes. That's a personal preference. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I do. I want to keep things short so it's not too long-winded, taking up too much time. And if I have to make it in 8 to 10 videos, that's fine. I got no problem with that. Now these screws I'm putting in, they're not tight. I'm just laying them in there and just barely seating them. Is that a good habit to get into? Possibly. It's something I've learned working on cars, working on timepieces. Until you know things are lined up and in place, do you really tighten them up. Now I can go to a fatter screwdriver, I think. Okay, now we can give this barrel a turn. No binding, nice and slick. I'm going to turn this over, and that little tab right there, that's our hacking lever. I'm going to give that a nudge. Make sure that's not bound up. That's working beautifully. So in this position is where we're going to have it to install the balance. So we're coming up on 9.5 minutes. So let's stop this here and we'll continue with the next one.